Möbius Admiral Zara and the crews awoke from cryosleep as the invading armada approached the Kite galaxy in FTL. Sat in his command chair deep within the new flagship, Conqueror of Octopi, he pondered how the upcoming events would play out. The ship Conqueror of Octopi was a unique name, a different approach to the ship naming process common to Yertle. Nearly all names of ships and fleets were named in remembrance of lost planets or important species lost across time. But Möbius Admiral Zara wanted a different approach. Remembering the losses always reminded him of the sting of what had been taken from them, and he wanted everyone to remember what he and the species of Yertle had equally taken from Unity. It took the crews under 3 hours to adjust from the intensive cryosleep and get prepared for their upcoming mission. 2,682 fleets all headed for their pre-designated targeted systems, with their crews now out of cryosleep running checks and getting reports from their ships after their long travel. Even though the ships were running on skeleton crews and AIs, the ships were in good working order. But using a skeleton crew meant problems could occur, and oversights happened. A deep inspection and maintenance was needed to ensure the fleet was in good order. Möbius Admiral Zara ordered the fleets out of FTL, and in an impressive action, the million ships all dropped out of FTL. The first order was to scan space and get a better inspection of the new galaxy. Across the months, Zara checked the logs of the travel and what maintenance was already underway. He then got on with other tasks that were needed of him. With the first fleet 3 months away from arriving at the first targeted star system, Outer Sol Port, he had to make sure the invasion was perfect in his eyes. Checks and double checks were underway to make sure enough of the fleet were in the right place to crush Unity's attempt at stopping the attack. Zara was sure Unity knew they were coming and preparation was already in place, but he felt confident in his command of his fleets and their abilities. After a week of checking each fleet's targeted system and the fleets in position to reinforce any surprises from Unity, now all he could do was wait. But right before Möbius Admiral Zara's eyes, Unity started leaving FTL close to combat range of the side portion of the Armada. He had to act fast and rearrange the fleets to counter the upcoming battle. The first battle started 1 week before the first fleet would launch into FTL to get to Outer Sol Port. Unity only had 100 fleets, and yet they still attacked a portion of the Armada. Ships across both sides collided in what would become the largest single battle to take place in the war. As the battle raged on, more and more of Unity ships dropped out of FTL closer to Yertle's. What was first only a fleet of 100 strong belonging to Unity, a manageable number, became 200 over the next 2 weeks. As the battle continued, more of Unity arrived. They had 500 fleets, and it changed Möbius Admiral Zara's outlook on his invasion in the Kite galaxy. Unity's standard fleet was 550 ships, and Yertle's standard fleet was 350, except planetary invading fleets. They had 650 on average. The battle went on for months, and still more of Unity's ships turned up. Unity averaged 250,000 ships across the battle, and every time one was lost, more turned up. Yertle had 1 million ships. The majority were primarily for battle. A lot were for invading planets and carrying important infrastructure for systems to be taken by them. Unity's ships had always been tougher than Yertle's, and Yertle had to use numbers to swarm Unity to win any engagement. With the battle taking place in open space, apart from asteroids to use for cover, both sides couldn't avoid each other. This battle, in Möbius Admiral Zara's opinion, would dictate the events in the Kite galaxy, and eventually, the whole war. After 4 months of fighting, the invading armada was down to 671,382 ships, with only 539,203,000 of those ships for space combat. Möbius Admiral Zara sank into his command chair. Unity still had more ships arriving every day, and every ship lost was replaced, like Unity only wanted that amount of ships, no more, no less. Möbius Admiral Zara decided he needed to change tactics again for what seemed like the umpteenth time. He ordered the fleet to use kiting attacks, sacrificing some for the many. Yertle's fleets all hit and retreated as Unity advanced, but they still suffered losses. Then, before Zara's very eyes, the battle turned for the worse. As 28 fleets of 350 ships each all shut down from Unity's AI and were destroyed without firing a single defensive round. More fleets fell to Unity's more advanced technology, and Möbius Admiral Zara had countless admirals under his command begging for advice on what the next plans would be. This battle felt like an experiment to Möbius Admiral Zara, and he wondered if Yertle had really greatly underestimated Unity's abilities and why they started the war. Another 6 weeks crawled by. The orders were given to the once impressive armada under the most decorated Möbius Admiral to ever live in Yertle's history. Retreat. They retreated without reluctance. They were down to 493,128 ships, and Unity followed with 250,000 ships. As the fleet turned and prepared to launch into FTL, Möbius Admiral Zara watched Unity's fleet as it followed. Then, countless flashes spread across space behind Unity's fleets. Systems showed another 250,000 ships dropping out of FTL, bringing Unity's fleet count to a staggering 500,000. Möbius Admiral Zara wondered if Unity had been playing with him this entire time. Did they really have the ability to move such large numbers around at will? He thought it explained the reports from the Silver Cylinder galaxy, and if this was true, Yertle were in astronomical trouble. He needed to get this information back to Yertle, but it would still take years in FTL. What was left of the invading armada launched back into FTL, heading to Octopi Galaxy. Möbius Admiral Zara slumped into his cryobed and slipped, begrudgingly, into a deep, silent cryosleep for the long journey back to the safety of Yertle space.